Will my grandfather forgive me for saying it, but Vive la France! Find out what I'm talking about after the titles. Hey everybody! Anthony Dodge, the Model Train Outsider, the Märklin Outsider, a Knight of the Rhomboid Table, here with another video. And this really should have been a part of a previous video, but things have forced me to switch things around. I don't know how many times I've mentioned this, but back in August, Joyce and I went up to Canada, and we were presented with a couple of lovely gifts from Dave from Scott Rails, who's probably sick of me mentioning that. These gorgeous French cars that he had, and didn't know who else to give them to, and well, I run European trains, so why not? And very cool, and that forced me to think I need a locomotive to go with them. And I really wanted to get a 241, which is a big heavy-duty passenger, high-speed passenger car, but the most recent released Märklin one from a year or two ago is completely sold out, and the cheaper version is now available on second market, beginning at about $1,500. It was about $750 when it came out, and they sold out, and anybody who's selling them, the rare people that are selling them, they're starting at $1,500 and going up to $1,800, $1,900 easily, and they're selling at that price. So be that as it may, I got caught up in buying some other steam locomotives, as you've seen through some of the videos recently and my recent live stream. But I finally just decided, I already moved some money around, so I left myself a little room, and I found an old Märklin class 231 for the French railways, which is a passenger hauler. And by the way, 231 is simply the French nomenclature. What you call 462, the French, along with I think the Japanese, I don't know who else does it, call it 231. We, the normal nomenclature is how many wheels each section has. The French and the Japanese do how many wheels can you see on a side. So 231 is 462 because it's 231 on both sides. Anyhow, enough of that. So a gorgeous French locomotive. It is a class 231, as I mentioned, Series A, as it's called, Serie. And it was analog, but when I opened it up, I had a surprise. It was not analog. Should have been, but somebody else had already upgraded it, and they put in a decoder. And I am assuming they put in the wrong decoder. They just grabbed any old decoder and put it in. But this decoder was working, but completely non-responsive, probably because the person who tried to put the decoder in may not have understood that this Alstrom motor, you either have to completely change out the motor to put in one of these higher end decoders, or you have to use the 60906 decoder. So I've messed with the decoder since, although I actually broke part of it now, but not being used. But it was interesting to open up the tender, which is where the decoder was. No, apologies. It was in the loco. It was in the boiler. And to open that up and see a digital, and I had to go back and find the manuals online, and as well as the manual I got, which doesn't give a blow-away diagram with these with this model. I didn't get it if it came with one. I've got the oiling manual and the instruction manual, but not the blow-away diagram manual. Anyhow, but I did do some research and found some things online, and yeah, this should not have that decoder in there. That was a very interesting decoder, but again, I think this person bought it, wanted to make it digital, put the decoder in, and it didn't work for them. And they probably gave up and just let it set. This train has been run minimally. So I don't know if they tested it in analog. The person I have bought a couple of these from does not test the trains. He doesn't even test to see if they power up. They have no way of testing 3-rail. Now, there are easy ways you can test power, but they don't bother with it. This is a picker. This is a person that just goes to garage sales and buys a bunch of stuff up and then throws it on his eBay shop. So he, like all those shows that were popular about 10, 15 years ago, American Pickers or the garage sales, garage wars, whatever they called them, all that stuff. This is what he does as a hobby. So he just goes, buys the stuff out. He finds a lot of model train stuff, goes to estate sales, buys it up, and he just says, here's what I've got. And talking to him, he's come across at least 4 different people that had massive Märklin collections, and he's been selling it, but he doesn't test it. You buy as is, and you shoot for the best. But anyhow, I'm sorry, long story. So I've done so many of these analog to digital videos, and I'll put this on the analog to digital, but I didn't film it. Because of the crazy decoder, I didn't want to try to work on camera. As is, I did go to Jean Ricard for help. I did make one error. I accidentally cut a wire on the 60906 to operate the smoke generator. I accidentally cut that off and had to resolder it back on. But not a big deal. The lights work, everything works. We're good to go. So I'm going to get it up here on the track, let you see it. Then I've taken some running shots. So let's look at it.
Here it is. The French Federal Railways, SNCF, Class 231, which just is a 462 from one side. Series 231A, as it's called. Märklin number 3317. Analog converted to digital. There was a Class 241, an even bigger one that I really liked, but by the time I decided to buy it, it was sold. So I went with the 231, but the 241 really was a perfect match color-wise. This one's a little lighter, but I think it looks awesome with the cars. This weight comes in at a weight of 460 to 465 grams. I did add the smoker unit to it, which sticks up, but I don't know if that's meant to design because that will not go any lower than what you see. Just a stunning loco, and what I really like about it is the green, but the very nice contrasting black and yellow trim on it, which really goes well with the black and yellow trim of the first class cars that come at the end of the train, as well as the one restaurant car that is green, which I'll show you in a bit later. Now, with this decoder 60906, it really just gives you digital control of speed, lights, and the smoker unit. It also can operate the tail-X couplers, if you have them, which are automatic couplers and uncouplers. Shunting speed, but it's a basic decoder, no sound. But what makes them so popular for me and many others is that it makes taking these analog trains, most of which have the Alstrom motor, it makes them real easy to make digital to run on your system. They didn't have any of those fancy functions to begin with. And you can upgrade these to sound. You may have to change the motor, which are relatively inexpensive, and Märklin still sells kits to do it, but you would have to get a new motor that it does fit where this motor fits. And you can then add the more advanced decoders. I think there's enough room in the tender that you could fit a speaker box in there for sound if you wanted. But I'm not worried about sound. As much as I love the bells and whistles of sound, I've got enough trains that do it. So I've already run this in after I worked on it. So I'm not going to bother doing the video where you see it going up the incline. I'm just going to give you some running shots with this. But first I'm going to put this with the car so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so here's the Märklin locomotive, and then here are two of the passenger cars I picked up from Dave. And these were made by Hornby Triang Meccano. All three companies have their names on it. So here is a Hornby Lima dining car that is designed to go with a set of cars just like this. I have been unable to find the actual matching car from Meccano that goes with this, but there are a couple of other companies that made a matching car. So this one goes with it. And what, again, I like about this is that the yellow highlights go with the first class car as well as the loco. So this makes a very cool looking train. The colors really stand out together. It's of an era, and I think it stands out in such a rich green. So very sharp. The other type of dining car that can go with it is this blue car. And yes, it's raised up a bit because the couplers do not match up. So I've raised it up just to kind of put it in. So don't panic. But I like this one because it still has the yellow highlight, but the offsetting blue, which has sort of the same hue, timber as the green color, but is in blue, I think makes a nice contrast to the dark green of the loco and passenger cars. So really, there's a wonderful case for both of those cars. Now, this is a Juef CIWL. Both these cars were CIWL. That's the company that's most famous for the Orient Express cars. But this makes a nice set. And whether I add the dining car or just run the four cars by themselves, it really will make for a nice train. So I will run it. I cannot run it with this dining car. I might be able to run it with the other, but it's just really a nice train. Now, if you're watching this on a phone, I don't think it stands out as much. But if you get a chance to see this on a much bigger computer screen or TV screen, I think these really show up nicely. So let me get you a little bit of running shots to whet the appetite and then go back to me. All right, so that was a look at it up on the track here. I'm very happy with that. I think it works well with those cars. They're not exactly the same color, but they are close enough. And it gives me another train, and it adds another country to my running. I now have added France. I added Italy with some of Herb's collection. And I've always had Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. And now I've got Denmark, and now I've added France, just the one French train. So I'm going to leave you with a bunch of running shots of it in action, and eventually I will try to get some running shots of the other trains going around. The Class 44 that I just got, the Class 38 I just got, although the 44 did run in the last live stream. And the Class 012, which has not had a video of its running in. So that being said, I'm going to end this video with some running shots of this 231A. And I hope you enjoy. And until the next video, I'm going to say, Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and happy trains. Take care, everybody.